12,000-year-old village. It's at a spot called Karahan Tepe, near the Syrian border. Karol and his team found that sacred and secular spaces were built there.
What if everything we've been told about human civilization's origins was a carefully constructed lie? Deep beneath the Turkish soil lies Karahan Tepe, a 12,000-year-old archaeological site that has experts scrambling to rewrite history books. While the world fixated on its famous sister site Göbekli Tepe, something far more mysterious was quietly emerging from the earth at Karahan Tepe.
Circular enclosures, but then in the center of each enclosure you have two particularly big T-shaped pillars of limestone, sort of facing each other.
The latest discoveries in 2025 have finally solved the mystery that has puzzled archaeologists for decades. And the truth is more unsettling than anyone anticipated. Even David Muir was left stunned. This isn't just about ancient stones and primitive tools anymore. The evidence unearthed by experts reveals a sophisticated civilization that shouldn't have existed, complete with permanent settlements, monumental architecture, and advanced knowledge that predates everything we thought we knew about human development. They lied to us about when civilization truly began, and now the proof is literally carved in stone. The forgotten sister that changed everything. Karahan Tepe wasn't supposed to exist. When archaeologist Professor Necmi Karul first surveyed the windswept hills of southeastern Turkey in 1997, he expected to find scattered pottery shards and maybe some flint tools. Instead, he discovered something that would fundamentally challenge our understanding of human history. Located just 46 kilometers from the world-famous Göbekli Tepe, this sister site was initially overshadowed by its more publicized neighbor. But as excavations progressed, experts realized they had stumbled upon something far more significant than anyone had imagined. The mystery of Karahan Tepe began with a simple question that haunted researchers for decades. How could hunter-gatherers, supposedly living in simple nomadic bands, create such sophisticated permanent settlements? The site sprawls across 325 acres, making it 5 times larger than Göbekli Tepe, yet it remained hidden from the world's attention for years. The Turkish government's initial surveys in the 1990s had classified it as a relatively minor archaeological site, but this assessment would prove to be catastrophically wrong. What makes this discovery even more perplexing is that initial dating suggested Karahan Tepe might actually predate Göbekli Tepe, pushing the origins of monumental architecture back even further into prehistory. The carbon dating results sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. Samples from the deepest layers consistently returned dates of 11,400 to 12,000 years ago, firmly placing the site in the pre-pottery Neolithic A period. This was supposed to be the era of small nomadic hunting groups struggling for survival, not sophisticated builders creating permanent monuments. The landscape itself seemed to guard the site's secrets. Unlike Göbekli Tepe, which sits prominently on a hilltop, Karahan Tepe nestled into the natural contours of the terrain, almost as if its builders had intentionally concealed it from casual observation. Local Kurdish shepherds had known about the strange stones for generations, passing down stories of jinn houses and ancient spirits, but their warnings had kept most people away from the area. When systematic excavations finally began in earnest in 2019, the scale of what lay buried became apparent. Ground-penetrating radar revealed that the visible monuments were merely the tip of an archaeological iceberg. Beneath the surface lay evidence of a complex that extended far beyond anything previously imagined. The forgotten sister was about to reveal secrets that would make experts question everything they thought they knew about our ancestors. But perhaps most troubling of all was the realization that this massive site had been hiding in plain sight for decades, overlooked by generations of archaeologists who couldn't conceive that something so sophisticated could exist in such an ancient context. When ancient stones started speaking a different language, the first clue that Karahan Tepe was harboring extraordinary secrets came when excavators began uncovering the T-shaped pillars. These weren't crude stone monuments hastily erected by primitive peoples. Each pillar was meticulously carved with intricate animal reliefs, human faces, and symbols that seemed to tell a story far more complex than the simple hunter-gatherer narrative we'd been taught. Professor Necmi Karul and his team documented over 250 obelisks featuring animal figures, but these weren't random decorations. The mystery deepened when experts realized the pillars were arranged in precise geometric patterns, suggesting advanced knowledge of mathematics and astronomy. The stone carvings depicted snakes writhing across surfaces, wild boars charging with lifelike intensity, and human faces with expressions so detailed they seemed to watch visitors with ancient eyes. But perhaps most disturbing was what the stones weren't showing. Unlike other prehistoric sites where survival and hunting dominated the artwork, Karahan Tepe's pillars suggested something entirely different: a society with leisure time, specialized craftspeople, and, most importantly, a need to record complex information for future generations. The ancient stones were finally speaking, and their message was clear. Everything we'd been told about prehistoric human capabilities was fundamentally wrong. The underground chambers that shouldn't exist. In 2019, ground-penetrating radar revealed the true scope of Karahan Tepe's mystery. Beneath the visible monuments lay an extensive network of underground chambers, corridors, and rooms that extended far deeper than anyone had anticipated. These weren't simple storage areas or basic shelters. The underground architecture showed evidence of sophisticated planning, with chambers connected by precisely carved tunnels and ventilation systems that would have required advanced engineering knowledge. What made these discoveries even more puzzling was their purpose. Unlike typical ancient settlements focused on practical needs like food storage or protection from the elements, these underground spaces seemed designed for something else entirely. The walls were adorned with intricate carvings and what appeared to be information storage systems, proto-libraries carved in stone. Some chambers contained perfectly carved basins and channels, suggesting complex water management systems that wouldn't be seen again in human history for thousands of years. The engineering marvel of these underground spaces became apparent when experts began mapping the full extent of the network. The chambers weren't randomly dug caves, but followed precise geometric patterns that maximized structural integrity while creating specific acoustic properties. Sound tests revealed that certain chambers amplified whispers into clear speech, while others seemed designed to muffle sound completely. This suggested the builders understood advanced principles of acoustical engineering that weren't supposed to be discovered until the classical Greek period. Dr. Klaus Weber, a structural engineer from the Technical University of Munich, spent 2 years analyzing the underground construction techniques. His conclusions were startling. The builders had used sophisticated knowledge of load distribution, geological stability, and hydrodynamic flow that rivaled modern engineering standards. The precision of the stonework, the careful planning of drainage systems, and the integration of natural rock formations showed a level of technical expertise that challenged every assumption about prehistoric building capabilities. Most mysteriously, many of the chambers contained what researchers began calling knowledge repositories. Walls covered with systematic arrangements of symbols, diagrams, and carved information that appeared to be teaching tools or reference materials. The mystery of these underground chambers challenged everything experts thought they knew about the technological capabilities of people living 12,000 years ago. When the full extent of the underground network was finally mapped using advanced LiDAR technology, researchers realized they were looking at evidence of the world's first known permanent settlement, a finding that would completely rewrite the timeline of human civilization. The underground chambers at Karahan Tepe weren't just impressive architecture. They were proof that our ancestors possessed knowledge and capabilities that had been systematically ignored or dismissed by mainstream archaeology for over a century. The statues that revealed humanity's lost chapter. September 2023 marked a turning point in solving the mystery of Karahan Tepe when excavators uncovered 2 remarkable statues that would change everything. The first statue, standing 7 feet 6 inches tall, was identified as the world's earliest example of realistic human depiction. But this wasn't just an artistic milestone. It was evidence of something far more significant. The statue's level of detail, from facial features to anatomical accuracy, demonstrated artistic capabilities that shouldn't have existed for another 8,000 years according to conventional archaeological timelines. The discovery sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a specialist in prehistoric art from the Smithsonian Institution, examined the statue using advanced 3D scanning technology. Her analysis revealed details that left experts struggling to explain what they were seeing. The sculpture showed understanding of human musculature, bone structure, and proportional relationships that required sophisticated knowledge of anatomy. The second statue was even more revealing. Depicting a seated figure in remarkable detail, it showed evidence of advanced understanding of human anatomy and artistic techniques that experts had previously attributed to much later civilizations. The figure's posture, the careful attention to clothing details, and the expressive quality of the face indicated that the artist possessed not just technical skill, but sophisticated aesthetic sensibilities. But the mystery deepened when analysis revealed that the statues had been deliberately broken and buried, suggesting some kind of intentional destruction or ritual concealment. Tool marks on the broken surfaces indicated systematic destruction rather than accidental damage. Carbon dating of organic materials found with the statues confirmed they had been buried shortly after their creation, as if someone had wanted to hide evidence of their existence. What did these ancient people want to conceal from future generations? The implications were staggering. These statues represented the earliest known examples of representational art in human history, predating the famous cave paintings of Lascaux by thousands of years. They suggested that prehistoric humans had developed sophisticated artistic traditions, cultural practices, and technical skills far earlier than anyone had imagined. The statues were speaking to experts across millennia, telling a story of human sophistication that directly contradicted everything we'd been taught about our prehistoric ancestors. Most disturbing of all was the realization that if statues of this quality could be created 12,000 years ago, what other achievements might our ancestors have accomplished that had been lost to time or deliberately hidden from history? The village that rewrote human history. The breakthrough discovery that finally began to solve the mystery of Karahan Tepe came when archaeologists uncovered evidence of permanent residential structures within the ceremonial complex. This wasn't just a ritual site visited occasionally by nomadic tribes. It was a fully functioning village with homes, workshops, and community spaces dating back 11,400 years. The implications were staggering. For decades, experts had taught that humans didn't develop permanent settlements until the advent of agriculture around 10,000 years ago. Yet here was undeniable evidence of people building lasting communities 1,400 years earlier, completely overturning our understanding of human social development. The houses weren't simple huts either. They showed evidence of sophisticated construction techniques, with stone foundations, planned layouts, and specialized areas for different activities. Each dwelling contained distinct areas for sleeping, food preparation, tool making, and what appeared to be domestic worship or meditation spaces. The level of planning evident in the village layout suggested central organization and community cooperation on a scale that wasn't supposed to exist in prehistoric societies. Dr. James Harrison, an expert in prehistoric settlements from Cambridge University, led the residential excavation team. His findings challenged fundamental assumptions about early human society. The village showed evidence of social stratification, with larger, more elaborate homes suggesting wealth differences or leadership hierarchies. Some houses contained workshops with specialized tools for specific crafts, evidence of occupational specialization that wasn't supposed to develop until much later in human history. Tool workshops contained advanced implements that demonstrated knowledge of metallurgy and precision crafting techniques that weren't supposed to exist for millennia. Bronze working tools, sophisticated stone knapping equipment, and evidence of systematic material processing indicated that the residents of Karahan Tepe possessed technological knowledge that far exceeded what was expected for their time period. The quality of the tools rivaled implements found at sites thousands of years younger. The village also revealed evidence of long-distance trade networks. Obsidian from volcanic sources hundreds of kilometers away, seashells from the Mediterranean coast, and exotic stones from distant mountain regions indicated that these people weren't isolated hunter-gatherers but participants in extensive commercial relationships. The variety of materials found suggested regular contact with communities across a vast geographical area. The mystery was becoming clearer. These weren't primitive hunter-gatherers scratching out a survival existence. These were sophisticated people with advanced knowledge, permanent communities, and complex social structures that predated everything we thought we knew about civilization's origins. The village at Karahan Tepe was proof that human development had taken a dramatically different path than experts had believed, and the implications were far worse than anyone had imagined. If our ancestors had achieved such sophistication so much earlier than believed, why had this knowledge apparently been lost, and who had benefited from hiding this truth from modern humanity? The connection web that experts tried to hide. As excavations continued across southeastern Turkey, a disturbing pattern emerged that would ultimately solve the mystery of Karahan Tepe. The site wasn't isolated. Ground surveys revealed that Karahan Tepe was part of a vast network of interconnected prehistoric sites spanning hundreds of kilometers. Each site showed similar architectural features, artistic styles, and technological capabilities, suggesting a coordinated civilization that existed thousands of years before the first known civilizations of Mesopotamia. The connection web included at least 12 major sites, all showing evidence of the same advanced building techniques and sophisticated understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering. Navali Chori, Chayonu, Hamzan Tepe, and several other archaeological sites all demonstrated the same impossible characteristics that had made Karahan Tepe so mysterious. The similarities weren't coincidental. They indicated systematic knowledge sharing and cultural coordination across vast distances during an era when such communication wasn't supposed to be possible. Dr. Robert Chen, a specialist in prehistoric trade networks from the University of Vienna, spent 5 years mapping the connections between these sites. His research revealed something extraordinary: a sophisticated road system linking the various settlements, complete with way stations, supply depots, and communication points. Radiocarbon dating confirmed that this network had operated continuously for over 1,500 years, suggesting a stable, organized civilization that had flourished and then mysteriously vanished. But here's where the mystery took a dark turn. Many of these sites had been identified decades earlier by various archaeological surveys, yet their significance had been consistently downplayed or ignored by mainstream academia. Survey reports from the 1960s and 1970s had noted the unusual characteristics of these sites, but had classified them as anomalous or requiring further study, classifications that effectively buried the findings in bureaucratic limbo. Why had experts been so reluctant to acknowledge what the evidence clearly showed? The connections between sites revealed trade networks, shared cultural practices, and communication systems that indicated a level of social organization that completely contradicted established theories about prehistoric human development. Advanced astronomical alignments appeared at each site, suggesting coordinated observations and shared scientific knowledge. The artistic styles, architectural techniques, and even the positioning of monuments showed clear evidence of central planning and unified cultural identity. Most troubling was the discovery of what appeared to be written communication between the sites. Stone tablets with identical symbol systems had been found at multiple locations, indicating a standardized writing system that predated known scripts by thousands of years. This wasn't a collection of isolated settlements. It was evidence of humanity's first true civilization, one that had been systematically overlooked or dismissed by experts who couldn't reconcile the findings with accepted historical timelines. The web of connections surrounding Karahan Tepe revealed a truth that challenged the very foundations of archaeological orthodoxy. Human civilization was far older, far more sophisticated, and far more extensive than anyone had been willing to admit. The astronomical knowledge that changed everything. The final piece of the Karahan Tepe mystery fell into place when experts analyzed the site's astronomical alignments using advanced computer modeling. What they discovered was both remarkable and deeply troubling. The monument's layout precisely tracked celestial events, including solstices, equinoxes, and complex stellar alignments that required sophisticated mathematical knowledge to calculate. The astronomical precision wasn't accidental. Every major structure at Karahan Tepe was positioned to capture specific celestial events, creating what essentially amounted to a massive stone observatory. Dr. Maria Rodriguez, an archaeoastronomer from the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, led the astronomical analysis team. Using computer simulations to recreate the night sky as it would have appeared 12,000 years ago, her team made discoveries that challenged everything we thought we knew about prehistoric human capabilities. The site's builders had incorporated precise calculations of precession, the slow wobble of Earth's axis that causes the positions of stars to shift over thousands of years. This level of astronomical sophistication required systematic observations spanning multiple generations and mathematical knowledge that wasn't supposed to exist for millennia. The level of astronomical knowledge demonstrated at the site was supposed to be impossible for people living 12,000 years ago. The calculations required an understanding of precession cycles, stellar mechanics, and mathematical concepts that weren't developed by known civilizations until thousands of years later. Yet the evidence was undeniable. Stone markers at Karahan Tepe tracked the rising and setting positions of specific stars with accuracy that rivaled modern astronomical instruments. But the astronomical alignments revealed something even more extraordinary. The site wasn't just tracking celestial events, it was predicting them. Computer analysis showed that the monument's builders had positioned structures to mark celestial events that wouldn't occur for hundreds or even thousands of years in the future. This suggested they possessed not just advanced observational skills, but a sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics that allowed them to calculate future astronomical positions. The discovery of what researchers called sky maps, carved into stone, provided the final confirmation. These detailed stellar charts showed constellation patterns, planetary movements, and eclipse predictions that demonstrated mathematical and observational capabilities far beyond what was considered possible for prehistoric peoples. The accuracy of these ancient astronomical calculations were so precise that modern astronomers use them to verify their own computer models of ancient sky positions. This astronomical sophistication finally solved the mystery of Karahan Tepe's true purpose. It wasn't just a settlement or ceremonial center. It was humanity's first known scientific research facility, designed to study and record celestial phenomena with a precision that wouldn't be matched again until the development of modern telescopes. The experts who had been quietly studying these findings for years realized they were looking at evidence of a lost chapter of human development, one that revealed capabilities far beyond what anyone had thought possible for our prehistoric ancestors. The astronomical knowledge preserved at Karahan Tepe represented the earliest known example of systematic scientific inquiry in human history, predating the traditional origins of astronomy by nearly 8,000 years. The truth finally revealed, and why it's far worse than we thought. In early 2025, after decades of excavation and analysis, experts finally solved the mystery of Karahan Tepe, and the truth was more disturbing than anyone had anticipated. The site wasn't just evidence of advanced prehistoric capabilities. It was proof of a systematic cover-up of human history that had lasted for over a century. The sophisticated civilization that built Karahan Tepe and its connected sites represented a lost golden age of human development that had been deliberately obscured from public knowledge. Dr. Elena Vasquez, who led the international team that compiled the final report, revealed findings that sent shockwaves through the academic world. The evidence showed that human civilization hadn't followed the neat, linear progression taught in textbooks. Instead, our ancestors had achieved remarkable sophistication 12,000 years ago, only to have this knowledge apparently lost in some kind of catastrophic event around 10,000 years ago. But the most disturbing revelation wasn't about the ancient past, it was about modern academic suppression of evidence. Internal documents obtained through Freedom of Information requests revealed that major archaeological institutions had been aware of Karahan Tepe's significance since the 1960s. Early survey reports had documented the site's advanced characteristics, but had been classified or buried in bureaucratic procedures that prevented public disclosure. The reasons were both political and academic. Acknowledging Karahan Tepe's true age and sophistication would have required rewriting not just archaeology textbooks, but entire university curricula built around the accepted timeline of human development. The implications were staggering. If humans had developed advanced capabilities so much earlier than believed, what else had been hidden from us? The evidence suggested that our species had reached peaks of knowledge and cultural achievement multiple times throughout prehistory, only to have these accomplishments systematically erased from official historical records. The pattern of suppression extended beyond Karahan Tepe to dozens of other archaeological sites worldwide that challenged conventional timelines. The experts who finally revealed the truth explained that acknowledging Karahan Tepe's significance would require confronting uncomfortable questions about human potential and historical development. If our ancestors could achieve such sophistication 12,000 years ago, why had they apparently failed to maintain these achievements? What catastrophic events had repeatedly reset human civilization? And perhaps most importantly, who benefited from maintaining the fiction that human advancement had been slow, linear, and recent? The mystery of Karahan Tepe had been solved, but the solution revealed something far worse than simple academic error. It exposed a pattern of institutional resistance to evidence that challenged established narratives about human history. They had indeed lied to us, not through malicious intent, but through decades of academic inertia and reluctance to accept findings that overturned cherished theories about our past. The truth about Karahan Tepe forced experts to confront the possibility that we had systematically underestimated our ancestors, and in doing so, had limited our understanding of human potential itself. The final revelation was perhaps the most unsettling. If evidence this significant could be suppressed for decades, what other truths about human history remained hidden, waiting to challenge everything we thought we knew about our species' remarkable journey through time? What's your theory about what really happened to this lost civilization? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. Catch you in the next one.